Introduction to Generics in TypeScript. Introduction to Generics. Hello, everyone. We're going to look at a powerful feature of TypeScript called generics. So generics enable us to write flexible, reusable code while maintaining strict type safety. Let's think of a case where you have a function that needs to work seamlessly with multiple data types. Generics make this possible without losing the benefits of TypeScript's type system. Why use generics? Generics are essential for any developer looking to write robust and maintainable TypeScript code. By using generics, you can create components that work with any type. By doing that, you are avoiding code duplication, and it also increases your code's flexibility. So to give you an example, a single generic function can sort an array of numbers, strings, or any other type, all while ensuring type safety during compilation. Generic functions. Let's start with generic functions. These are functions that can operate on data of multiple types. So, for instance, let's consider a function get first element, and that returns the first item from an array. Without generics, you might need multiple functions for arrays of number, strings, and so on. But with generics, you can just have this one function that does all. Here, T represents any type, which is determined when the function is called. So here we can see that we can just use this same function, get first element, on array of numbers. And we can also use the same get first element on array of strings while keeping type safety. Generic interfaces. So let's talk about generic interfaces. So generic interfaces allow us to define the structure of a class or object with flexible property types. For example, we can define an interface for a generic method that returns an item from a storage mechanism. If we want to do that, as you can see from the example, we can create an interface called iStorage that would have get item, set item. Get item would receive key and return this type, and set item would receive that item T along with key. So by doing this, this interface can be implemented by any class that interacts with storage system. Right now, I'm showing you for string, but you can implement the storage interface for number storage or custom object storage. Generic classes. So generic classes are particularly useful when building data structures. One example would be Q. So we have this class Q, and that is receiving data, which is an array of T, and NQ and DQ. NQ would receive item of type T, and upon receiving the item of type T, it will append to this data, and then DQ will either return T or undefined. So similar to generic interfaces, this Q class can handle any type of data, whether it's numbers, strings, or object, while maintaining full type safety. And we're showing an example of handling numbers, but we can replace this with strings or objects. Using type constraints. So sometimes we need more control over the types used with generics, and type constraints allow us to specify that a type parameter must extend a certain type. For instance, if we need a function that processes objects with a name property, we could have this function process item, and instead of just having T, it would extend and have a name as an object. So by setting it like this ensures that the function won't accidentally be called with data that lacks the required property. Generic utility types. So TypeScript provides several built-in utility types that leverage generics for common tasks. For example, partial type makes all properties of an object type optional. So you can see that we have this person type that has name and age, and by applying partial to person, we don't have to provide age, and it's still valid. And here is an example of using read-only. This makes name and age all read-only, so assigning a different name will cause an error. And such utilities like this is extremely powerful and flexible for developing complex applications. Conclusion, so to wrap up, generics are really important if you are programming in TypeScript, because generics allow you to write cleaner, safer code. I highly recommend you to look more into generics so you can use generics in your TypeScript project. That's it for this lecture. Thank you all for listening.